Year 6 and welcome to your maths lesson. So first of all, you've got some fluency questions on the board, you've got some halving of numbers, and then you've got find three fractions that are equivalent to this, and then simplifying. If you can have a go at that now, so pause the video when you're ready and have a go at your fluency. Okay, when you're ready for the answers, we will move on. So we're going to move on now. So these are the answers. So I've just shown you how I would do it over here. So with 54, I would partition it in half the 50 first and get the 25, and then half the 4 and get the 2, and add it together, which gives you the 27. So that's just a little way I'd use to answer these. The second one is 129, 173, 1,228. This one here is 64.5. Half of 100 is 50. Half of 20 is 10. So put that together, you've got 60 so far. Half of 9 is 4.5, so it's 64.5. Find three fractions that are equivalent to 3/5. Obviously, there's loads of different ones you can do. If you times both of them by 2, you get 6 over 10. If you times both of them by 3, you get 9 over 15. If you times them both by 4, you get 3 times 4, which is 12. Over 20, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see how that works. As you're going, just multiply. As long as you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, you'll keep them equivalent and it will work fine. Simplify 24 over 32. You should recognize that you can divide both those numbers by 8. 24 divided by 8 would give me 3. 32 divided by 8 would give me 4, so it's 3/4. Okay, should we put our lines in so they look like proper fractions? Problem we're doing it this way and not doing it in class, isn't it? Although it won't be long now until we're back in school. Okay, next bit. So today we're comparing and ordering fractions, but we're using denominators to order them. So 3/4 is something than a half, and 3/4 is larger or greater than a half. A half is smaller than 3/4. You need to find the lowest common multiple of both denominators, and then whatever you do to the denominator, you must do to the numerator. Okay, so let's move on to our first part. So here we're going to use the bar model to compare a quarter and a half. So here we've got, the bar model is split into 4 pieces, these are into quarters, this one is split into 2 pieces, so it's split into halves. So we want to compare 1/4 and 1/2. So if we get my pen, let's do it in brown, I think. Right, so let's do a quarter. So that's 1 out of 4. So we're colouring 1 in. Remember the best colouring in? 1. The second one, let's do this one in purple. It says 1/2. So that's 1 out of the 2. So let's colour this one in. Dodgy colouring again. Okay, so then my sentence starters say something is greater than something. So which one is the largest? Well, we can see that the half is the largest, so we need to write 1/2 is greater than 1/4. Then something is smaller than something. So then we've got 1/4 is smaller than a half. Okay, so we've put both of those in and we've put them into the right place. So let's have a look on the next sheet. So you've got 2 here. You're going to use the bar models on the left-hand side to compare 2/3 and 3/4, and then on the right-hand side to compare 3/5 and 3/6. So you can have a go at both of those now and pause this video, and then we will go through the answers in a second. Okay, so if you're ready, we can go through the first one on the left. So it says compare 2/3. So I'm going to colour in first 2/3. So we'll do pink this time. So we've got this one's into thirds. We need to do 2 out of the 3. 1, 2. And then the second one, it says 3/4. We'll go green. So we've got 1, 2, and then in the third. So let's have a look at both of those. So something is greater than something. So which is the larger one? You can see that the 3/4 is slightly larger than the 2/3. So we should have got 3/4 is greater than 2/3. And then that means that 2/3 is smaller than 3/4. Good. Okay, so let's have a look at one on the right. So we've got 3/5 and 3/6. So if we do the 3/5 first, let's use blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one, top one is in 6, and we want 3 out of 6. So we've got Some very dodgy colouring going on. So we've got 3 there. That's coloured in terribly. Obviously, if you're doing this, you're going to take this a lot neater. And then the second one, we want 3/5. So let's choose a different colour. We've got 1, 2, 3. So which one is the greater one? Which one is larger? We have got, obviously, our 3/5 is greater because we can see that it's a larger part of my bar model. So we've got 3/5 is greater than 3. Ooh, that's not where that was supposed to be going. So we've got 3/5 is greater than 3/6. And then we've got on this one, 3/6 is smaller than 3/5. Okay, now we've used both of the sentence starters there just to work our way through. Let's have a look at the next part. So it says here, Dora is comparing 5, 6 and 3/4 by finding the lowest common multiple of the denominators. So remember, a common multiple is a number that is in both times tables. So what she's done first is she's found the multiples of 6. The multiples of 6 is just your 6 times table. So the first thing she's done is she's wrote her 6 times table. But what she did when she was doing this, and what I think is a really good idea, is because she's trying to find the lowest common multiple, she didn't write the entire times tables out. She did one at a time. So she did a first multiple of 6, which was 6, and then she did a first multiple of 4, which was 4. Then she did her next multiple of 6, which was 12, and then a next multiple of 4, which is 8. Then she did a next multiple of 6, which is 18, and a next multiple of 4, which is 12. Now, we can see that 12 is in as a multiple of 6 and a multiple of 4. So that is her lowest common multiple, the lowest multiple of both that's in both of these, okay? So that's the one we want. We now need to change the denominator into 12s. So the first one, we've got 5, 6. We think, well, what do we do to 5, 6 to get into 12s? So what do we do to 5, 6 to get into 12s? Well, to get from 6 to 12, we multiply by 2. So remembering that whatever you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator, we also must do that to here. So we times the 5 by 2. So 5 times by 2 gives me 10, and 6 times by 2 gives me 12. Now let's look at the second one. So we've got 3/4. So what do we multiply the 4 by to make the denominator of 12? Well, 4 times by 3 gives me 12. So we're multiplying the denominator by 3. Whatever we do to the denominator, we must do to the numerator. So we must multiply the numerator also by 3. So that's 3 times 3. So 3 times by 3 gives me 9/12. So now, which is the larger fraction? So is the largest fraction 3/4, which is equivalent to 9/12, or 5, 6, which is equivalent to 10/12? Well, my largest one is, of course, the 10/12, which was 5, 6. So 10/12 is greater than 9/12, okay? So we're now going to use Dora's method to compare these two fractions. So we've got 4/5 and 3/4. So the first thing we need to do is we need to write our multiples of 5. So we're going to do one at a time. So multiple of 5, the first multiple is, of course, 5. The second is the first multiple of 4 is, of course, 4. Let's go back to our multiples of 5. The next multiple of 5 is 10. Next multiple of 4 is, of course, 8. We haven't had a multiple yet that's in both. The next multiple of 5 is 15. The next multiple of 4 is 12. The next multiple of 5 is 20. The next multiple of 4 is 16. Again, we've not had a common multiple. We've not had one that's in both. The next multiple of 5 is 25. The next multiple of 4 is 20. So our lowest common multiple of 5 and 4 is our 20. Ooh, it's a terrible circle, Miss Farrell. So we've got 20 here. So we're going to write 20 here. So 20 is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4. So now we're going to do what we did before to this one. So we've got the first fraction, which was 4/5. And we need to now, what do we need to do to this to give it as a denominator of 20? So what do we do to the 5 to get to 20? Well, let's think about it. What do we times 5 by to get 20? We times by 4. So we're multiplying the 5 by 4. So therefore we have to multiply the numerator by 4. 4 times by 4 gives me 16. So we get 16 over 20. Okay, let's write that as a fraction and make sure I've got my line in. Good. Okay, now we've got the second fraction, which was 3/4. So we've got 3/4 here. What do we do to the 4 to make it into a denominator of 20? Well, we times it by 5. So we times by 5. Whatever we do to the denominator, we do to the numerator. So we times this one by 5. 3 times by 5 is, of course, 15. So that gives us the fraction of 15 over 20. Let's put my line in so it's a proper fraction. Good, so 15 over 20. So we've got 16 over 20 or 15 over 20. So we need to put a sign here. We need to put either a greater than or less than sign. So which is the larger fraction? Well, 16 over 20 is the larger one, which was 4/5. So when we're putting in our sign, we're going to put the greater than sign. So 4/5 is greater than 3/4. So we're going to put that there. Good. Right, let's move on to the next part. So you can see you've got the two things here again. Ignore that, that's in the wrong place. So you've got the two here that you're going to have a go at. So can you all pause the video, have a go at these two questions, and then we'll go through them together. So pause the video for me now. Okay, I'm going to go through the one on the left. So I found my multiples, and when I found my multiples, I found that 20 was the lowest common multiple of both of them. So we're going to make them so the denominators are now 20. So I'll do it here so it's below. So we're making them both instead of the denominators are 20. So we have to think, well, what do we do to these to get to 20? Well, 4 to get to 20, we multiply by 5. So we do the same to the numerator. So 3 times by 5 is 15. So we get 15 over 20. And then this one, to get from 10 to 20, we times by 2. So we do 7 times by 2, which is 14. Put my lines in. So we've got 15/20 or 14/20. The largest, of course, 15/20. So, and that was 3/4. That's this side here. So we're going to put a greater than. 3/4 is greater than. So let's put our text box. So 3/4 is greater than 7/10. Good. Right, let's look at the one on the right then. So you should have all had a go at this. The multiples of 5, we've got 5, then we've got 10, then we've got 15, 20, 25, 30, 30, 35. Went a bit big, let's put it there. And then multiples of 7, let's go, we've got 7, 14, 21, then we've got 28, and then we've got 35, and we've found a common multiple, haven't we? So the common multiple of both is 35, so that's the lowest common multiple was 35. So let's have a go at making them into 35ths. So what do we do to the 5 to get to 35? We multiply by 7. So we need to do the same to the numerator, so 3 times by 7 is 21. 7 to get to 35, we times by 5, so we need to do the same to the numerator. 4 times by 5 is 20, so we get 20 over 35. So those are my two fractions. Let's put our lines in, make them look properly. Ooh, a bit wobbly. Okay, so we've got 21 over 35 and 20 over 35. The largest one is 21 over 35, so we've got this one here is greater than, 3/5 is greater than 4/7. Okay, right, these ones are similar. The only difference is they've got a whole number. But if you notice this one on the left, you will notice that they've both got 2 as a whole number. Therefore, we know the whole number is the same, so we don't need to look at the whole number. What we need to compare is the two fractions. So you've got 2/5 and you've got 2/8. So we first need to find the lowest common multiple for both of them. So a multiple that is in both the 5 and the 8 times table. Now, if you go through your 5s, it's quite easy to work out that 40 is in both the 8 times table and in the 5 times table. So we're going to make them to 40ths. Okay. 80 is also would be a common multiple of both, but it's not the lowest common multiple. So we need to commit to be the we need it to be 40ths. So to get from 5 to 40, we times by 8. So we're timesing it by 8, so we need to do the same to the numerator. So 2 times by 8 is 16. So we got 16/40. And then this one here, we're timesing the 8 by 5. So we times 3 by 5, which gives us 15. So we've got 15/40. So obviously the whole numbers are both the same. And then the two fractions, we've got 16/40 and we've got 15/40. So the largest one is, of course, 16/40, which is this one, 2 and 2/5. So we need to put a greater than sign. All of them have been greater than so far, haven't they? I wonder if this last one is going to change it up. So because I've just shown you how to do it, have a go with this third one by yourself, and then we'll go through the answer together. So pause the video when you're ready and go through it. Okay, I'm going to go through it now. So we've got the two denominators. We know the whole numbers are both the same. We've both got 3, so we don't need to compare those. We need to look at the fractions. We've got a half here and 5/6 here. Now, I'm going to keep them as sixths because I can make the half into a 6. So if I times this one, if I multiply the 2 by 3, I get 6. So if we times in that one by 3, we need to times the numerator, which gives us 3. So we've got 3/6, which is a half, equivalent to a half. And then we've got 5/6 here. And put the lines back in. That's it. So my largest one is actually this one, the 5/6 this time. So for once, we've got 3 halves is smaller than 3 and 5/6. Okay, so these are slightly different now. You need to order the fractions in descending order. It says, so you've got 3/8, 11/20, 1/2, 2/5, 3/4, 7/10. It says, can you think of a common multiple of all of these? So this is trickier now. You need to think of a common multiple of 8, 20, 5, 2, 4, and 10. Okay, have a think, see if you can work it out. Okay, I'm going to tell you now. So a common multiple of all of them would be 40, because 40 is in the 8 times table. It's in the 20 times table, so if you double that fraction, you can get into 40. It's in the 2 times tables, it's in the 5 times table, 4, and it's in tens. So we're going to make them all into 40ths. So the first thing we have to do is make them all into 40ths. So the first one here was 3/8. So we have to think, what did we do to the 8 to get to 40? We timed it by 5. So we need to do the same to the numerator. So that becomes 15/40. So that first one was 15/40. The second one, we're making it obviously into 40ths. So we're looking at that fraction carefully. It was 20, so we're double the 20 to make it into 40. So we need to double the 11, which gives me 22. Okay, the second one is a half. So how do we get a half of 40? Well, some of you might know straight away that it's 20, because 20 is half of 40, so that would be 20/40. The next one is 2/5. So to get from 2/5, we need to do, to get to 40, we do 5 times 8, which would give me 40. So we need to times the top number by 8, which is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. Then the next one is 3/4. To get from the quarter, to get from 4 to 40, we times by 10. So that gives me 40. So we times the numerator by 10, which gives me 30. So we've got 30/40. And then the next one is 7/10. To get from 10 to 40, we times by 4. So that will give me 40. Times in the 7 by 4. 7 times 4 is 7, 14, 21, 28. So we've got 28/40. So now we can so now it says order them in descending order. So from smallest to in descending order, sorry, from largest to smallest, because ascending would be smallest to largest, descending would be largest to smallest. So which is the largest then? My largest is 30/40, which is 3/4. So 3/4 would be first. And then let's look at the next one. So we've done this. In fact, I'm going to take that off, otherwise I'm going to get confused. Come on. 30/40. So my next one is going to be my 28/40, which was 7/10. So we're going to write here 7/10. And let's tick it off so we don't forget. My next one would be the 22/40, which was this one, 11/20. So let's write 11/20. Good, and let's cross that one off. Which was that one? Okay, so next one we've got, this is 20/40, 16, 15. So it's going to be the 20/40, which was the half. A half. And then let's cross that one off. And then we've got 16/40 and 15/40. 16/40 is 2/5. When you do this in your book, if you do it directly below, it's much easier to tell which one's which. Obviously for me, it's opposite ends, which makes it harder. You can make this a little bit easier for yourself. And the last one will be 15/40, which is 3/8. They didn't go in a very straight line, did they? Never mind. So we've now put them into descending order, from largest to smallest. So we've put the fractions into descending order. And then the question afterwards, it says which one is the greatest? So which is the largest fraction? Well, we should be able to find that quite easy because it's the start, because we've ordered it in descending order. The largest is 3/4, and then the smallest is the 3/8. Okay, well done. Today then is on your sheet. You've got your circles, triangle sheet, and then you've got an extension sheet with the squares and the pentagon on. So you can have a go at those. When you've done, just email me a picture of your work. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm also going to put your Skillshare on, so if you want to do your work first, you can pause the video, but I will put your Skillshare on now. You're simplifying these fractions. I'll give you, if you pause this video now, I'm going to put the answers on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Went a bit early then, didn't I? There you go, there are your answers. So you've got your question there, and then have a go at that and send me any of your work for today. Okay, well done everyone, thanks for listening, and I will speak to you soon.